Hello students, in this lecture we are going to study the derivation of the EMF equation of a single phase transformer. Before that, let's just consider a single phase transformer connected to a load just like shown in the figure. Now V1 will be, this will be primary side of your transformer and this will be secondary side, primary and secondary. Now let's say V1 is the primary applied terminal voltage to the transformer. This is a alternating voltage, and because of the alternating voltage flowing through the coil, the current will be alternating current will be flowing through the coil, and this alternating current when passes through the number of turns of the coil, the EMF E1 will be induced in the coil, and also this alternating voltage will be responsible for the flux that will be flowing through the iron core just like this. Now this flux, this alternating flux will be linking to the secondary coil here, and because of the alternating flux flowing through the secondary coil, EMF E2 will be induced in the secondary, and because of that, if this EMF induced coil is connected to the load, it will be responsible for a voltage V2 across the load and current I2 through the secondary. So here voltage V1 and V2 will be the terminal voltages primary and secondary respectively, and voltages E1, EMFs E1 and E2 will be the primary and secondary induced EMF. That's how the transformer works. Now let's go to the derivation of EMF equation of a transformer. For that, let's consider some parameters that we have just studied in the diagram only. N1 being number of primary turns, E1 being RMS value of the EMF induced, we always consider the RMS values only. N2 being number of secondary turns, E2 being RMS value of the induced EMF in the secondary coil, and F is the frequency of the supply, and phi is the flux generated because of the alternating voltage. Now according to considering all these parameters, we are going to derive the expression for the EMF induced in the transformer, whether it may be primary coil or the secondary coil. Now we know that the voltage that is supplied to your transformer is an alternating voltage, which is shown in the diagram here. The alternating behavior of the voltage is shown here. You all are aware of the concept of the alternating voltage, and because of this alternating voltage, the flux is being generated in the core of the transformer. That flux also will show the same alternating behavior as the alternating voltage. That is, flux will start from 0 and it will end on 2 pi, the completing one cycle with the same period, that is of the period of the supply frequency. T is equal to 1 by F, we all know that. That means simply what I am trying to tell here is the generated flux will show a alternating behavior because of the alternating voltage supply. Now let's consider, we know that from the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, E is equal to N d phi by dt, that is average generated EMF will be N into d phi by dt. So from this formula we can implicate that average EMF per turn. If we take N on the left hand side, we will get E by N. So average EMF per turn will be only d phi by dt, that is change in flux divided by time required for change in flux. Now from the flux diagram we know that this is the 1/4 of your flux cycle and this is the entire cycle. Now in the 1/4 cycle, what is happening is your flux is starting at 0 and reaching the positive maximum value. That means flux has changed from 0 to plus phi m, and the time required to reach the plus phi m value will be 1 divided by 4f, that is 1/4 of the time period. 1 divided by 4f second, that will be the time required for the flux to change from 0 to phi m. Now in this duration, so the change that is happening here is 0 to phi m, 0 being initial flux and phi m being the final flux. So we can say that d phi by dt is equal to final flux minus initial flux divided by the time required, that is phi m minus 0 divided by 1 upon 4f. Rearranging, we will get 4 phi into phi m, 4f into phi m, sorry, 4f will be going in the numerator, so we will be only remaining with d phi by dt is equal to 4f phi m Weber per second, or we know that this is average EMF per turn formula. D phi by dt is average EMF per turn formula. That's why we can say average EMF generated here per turn is 4f into phi m volts. So this is a one formula that we have derived from the available data. Now again we have available with us considering the property of alternating quantity we know that form factor of any alternating quantity is the ratio of RMS value to the average value, and its value is 1.11, which is constant for any alternating quantity. So from that we can say RMS value is the multiplication of average value and 1.11. Now we have already derived the average value here, average value of the EMF here. So the RMS value of EMF induced per turn will be 1.11 multiplied by the average value. That is, we will be only remaining with RMS value of EMF induced per turn as 4.44 multiplied by supply frequency multiplied by phi m. Phi m is the maximum flux that is generated in the transformer. That much of volts will be your RMS value of EMF induced per turn. So now if we are talking about the primary side of induced EMF, then your E1 will be number of primary turns multiplied by the RMS value of EMF, because EMF per turn, this is E by N value. If we want to get E value, we have to take N from the left hand side and multiply it to the right hand side. So that's what we have done here. E1 is equal to N1 into 4.44 into F into phi m, and similarly E2 will be equal to N2 into 4.44 into F into phi m volts. So these are the two formulae for the EMF induced in primary and secondary respectively. So the generalized equation of your transformer now will become E is equal to N into 4.44 into F into phi m, where N is the number of turns of the coils, whether it may be primary or secondary. From this equation we can determine the value of the voltage that is induced in your transformer, N into 4.44 into F into phi m. Now using this derived expression only, now we will understand the concept of ratios of transformer. We have three ratios. One is transformation ratio, another is voltage ratio, and the third ratio is current ratio. Now we already have two equations available with us, primary induced voltage and secondary induced voltage. If we divide equation number 2 by equation number 1, we will get our transformation ratio. That is, our transformation ratio K is nothing but E2 divided by E1. Now from E2 and E1, all the parameters that are constant we will be cut out. So here the constant parameters are these parameters, they will be cancelled in the expression, and we will be only remaining with the ratio of number of turns. That is, your transformation ratio is simply the ratio of secondary number of turns to the primary number of turns. K is equal to N2 by N1, that is the transformation ratio of a transformer, the proportion in which the voltage is transferred from primary to secondary. Now there are some basic properties of this transformation ratio. Now first is, if N2 is greater than N1, then K will be greater than 1, which represents the secondary induced voltage will be greater than the primary induced voltage. That means this type of transformer is step up transformer. Similarly, if N2 is less than N1, then K will be less than 1, implicating the secondary induced voltage less than the primary induced voltage. So this transformer is step down transformer, because the voltage transfer is going to get decreased. And if N2 is equal to N1, K will be exactly 1, representing both the primary and secondary voltage are equal to each other. So such type of transformer is known as 1:1 transformer, because the ratio will be 1:1, or isolation transformer. So this is about the transformation ratio. Basically your transformation ratio is nothing but number of secondary turns divided by primary turns. It is derived from the concept of ratio of secondary induced voltage to primary induced voltage. Now the next concept is voltage ratio. Now to understand that, let's now go to our transformer connection here. Now if from this figure, if let's say there is no load condition of transformer, that is we are considering, that means the load is not connected here. What will happen because of that? Your secondary current will become 0, implicating no voltage drop around the secondary winding. That means your secondary induced EMF will be directly reflect as the secondary terminal voltage. That means V2 will become equal to E2. That is explained here. If I2 is 0, then there is no voltage drop across the secondary windings. That's why secondary terminal voltage will become equal to secondary induced voltage. Similarly, now on no load, the primary current I1 is so small that it can be considered as 0 only. There is primary current present, but it is so negligible, so we can consider it as neglected. again it will implicate the same thing. The primary terminal voltage will be exactly reflected on the primary induced voltage. That means V1 should be equal to E1 at no load condition. All the two conditions are satisfied on no load only, when the transformer is not connected to any load. The secondary of the transformer is not connected to any load. Then only V2 is equal to E2 and VV is equal to E1. Now, we know that K is equal to E2 by E1. Again, we have stated here E2 and E1 are exactly equal to V2 and V1 respectively. So, K will become ratio of V2 by V1, the ratio of secondary terminal voltage to the primary terminal voltage. So, your voltage ratio is same as the transformation ratio. E2 by E1 is equal to V2 by V1, which will be equal to N2 by N1. V2 by V1 is equal to N2 by N1 is your voltage ratio. Now, the third type of ratio that is possessed by the transformer property is current ratio. Now, if for an ideal transformer, the basic property of ideal transformer is there should be no losses happening inside the transformer. That is, whatever the input that is provided to the transformer should be reflected as it is at the output. So, input volt amperes, that is input power, should be exactly equal to output power. Now, what is your input volt ampere? The multiplication of input terminal voltage to the input terminal current, that is V1 I1, and output volt ampere will be the multiplication of secondary terminal voltage to the secondary current. Now, we will be just rearranging this equation. Let's take V1 on the right hand side, so it will be V2 by V1, and I2 on the left hand side, it will be I1 by I2. So, our voltage ratio will be equal to current ratio, but they will be reversed to each other. Voltage ratio is the ratio of secondary to primary, but current ratio is the ratio of primary current to the secondary current. This is our current ratio. So, we can say that from all this we can say that our transformation ratio is K is equal to N2 by N1, which is exactly equal to V2 by V1, and it will be equal to I1 by I2. So, the current ratio and voltage ratio are inverse to each other. Thank you. That's all for this video. Next concepts will be studied in the next one.